Hi, hello, what's up? Today I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships as a path, as a personal growth path. And I know a lot of you are into personal growth and development if you follow me and people like me, which I really appreciate that about you. It's awesome. So, we're going to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about staying angry at your parents, why that's a, not a great idea. Okay, I'll tell a quick story about me and my mom, who's awesome. And she might actually pop on here, who knows. And then I want to talk about um, a really, really ruthless question you can ask yourself. All right. And I'm going to cover more of this in a deeper dive 2-day retreat coming up. I'm just going to put the link in here. So you guys in Instagram at least are with me. Okay. Pin. Great. So, how's your day going? It's good to see you folks. Seeing some folks join here. It's awesome. All right. Years ago, I went to therapy, did loads of psychotherapy on all of my issues, and I had a lot of issues. I still go to psychotherapy from time to time because, oh, I still have issues, like we all do. I probably will do coaching and psychotherapy for the rest of my life because as long as you're growing, you're going to keep uncovering blind spots in yourself and places in you that need love, acceptance, and healing. That's my take. And we get to use our relationships in our life, particularly the ones that trigger us and that are difficult, as ways to heal because it's the hard relationships that expose our shadow and bring what's unconscious out into consciousness. And then we get to choose, how do I want to relate to this part of myself? Do I want to keep pushing it away and projecting it outward on other people? Or do I want to say, fine, I submit. Fine, you got me. This is a part of me I don't like. Okay, I got to work on it. That's how I see it. And years ago, I went to graduate schools. Some of you know, studied psychology, got a master's degree. And as I started to wake up, I started to feel like I had some challenges in my childhood that I wanted to address with my parents. It was like I had a bone to pick. And my mom and dad, I took them outside their house. I sat them down and I pulled out the bazooka and just let them have it. Basically blamed them for everything in my life. It was really unfortunate, but that's what I did. That was the best I could do at the time. And obviously it hurt them, and it had a big impact. And I'm going to guess that some of you are doing that quietly in your head with your dad or your mom or your stepdad or mom or a caregiver, a grandparent, an older sibling, someone who was kind of supposed to look after you in a good way and maybe didn't. Maybe they took advantage of you or hurt you. You experienced trauma in their in their care. They didn't repair it. They didn't apologize. This is very common in our parents' generation. It's just like they didn't have the personal growth tools. It just wasn't something you worked on. So many years later, I worked through my beef with my parents. And nothing changed about my past, but I got finally through some mentorship with some amazing people, I got some new tools. And these new tools allowed me to say two things to my parents. Two things. Thank you. Thank you. From a genuine place of deep gratitude to just say thanks, mom and dad, for how you raised me, for exactly how you did it. And that allowed our relationship to go to the next level, and we have a great relationship now. We live in different states. It's not like we're talking every day. But I really love my parents, and I worked hard to get to a place I could say genuinely thank you, and I don't need you to be different, and I appreciate you as you are. And I want to encourage you to do something similar today, right? There's a guy, I can't remember his name, he wrote an entire book. And in the book, the methodology is basically you write down every single thing your parents gave to you, for you, as many times as you remember them. So they packed my lunch, they provided me a shelter for 18 years, they bought me things. And what you start to see is, yes, they hurt you, but you start to see, God, they actually did a lot for me. And some of us get very warped in our perception that because we got so fucked up as kids by our family or whatever, then that's just the truth. And we forget there's this whole other side to the situation. Someone was feeding you, someone was buying shit for you, etc. So I want you to be, as you move toward adulthood, and this is, you're all adults, but as you move toward becoming a true adult, right, a mature adult, as we all need to do, I think, we can lead more effectively, and we can lead better lives, and we can lead the next generation in a better way. Otherwise, we're just sort of hitting repeat, and we tend to, as much as we're working on ourselves, we tend to repeat stuff we don't truly change in ourselves. Okay. And that goes for anyone that's hurt me in my life. I began to turn the whole thing around and change my perception. And I started to make meaning out of my suffering and out of my pain. And you all have probably heard of the book Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, right? The guy who was in the Nazi concentration camps. And he survived miraculously. And talk about, that's to me one of the hardest of the hard environments to stay connected to yourself and to make meaning out of your suffering. So some of us complain over this stuff going on in our lives, and we compare it to someone like Viktor Frankl's experience, where it just doesn't compare. And it's important to be realistic about our suffering, but to learn from people like him to say, how can I transform my suffering into fuel, and how can I transform my suffering into meaning, so that I can live a fulfilling life, all right? So that leads into the next question, fulfillment. The fulfillment to me is the pinnacle of the human experience. And yes, I'll take some questions here in a moment. And by the way, I'm going to go deeper into this Friday and Saturday this week. I'm doing a live virtual 2-day retreat. So you can come from anywhere in the world. You can come for 1 day, 2 days, none days, get the recordings. So I strongly encourage you to sign up. The link right there is, I pinned it in the chat there in the comments on Instagram. For anyone watching on YouTube or Facebook, it's relationshipschool.com/path. Okay, and that gets you to the registration page. And I'd love to see some of you there. We've got a great group already signed up, and these people are going to go really, really deep. They're going to get connected to themselves, and they're going to come out the other side more empowered. Plus, I'm gifting you a free 8-week course that you can take when you sign up for the live retreat. So don't worry if you can't make it. I would sign up just for that 8-week course personally. All right. So fulfillment. All right. The fulfillment is the pinnacle, in my experience, of the human experience. It's the thing that most of us are striving for. It's not happiness. Okay. Happiness, I think, is a trap that creates more depression in this culture. You walk into Whole Foods or any grocery store and you see all the shit selling you happiness. Here's how to be happy in 10 steps. Here's how to be happy, happy, happy. Well, all that shit is making us miserable, I think. And I just think it's creating more suffering. And when we chase happiness, which is pleasure, we create more suffering. That's what the Buddha taught us, right? The second noble truth. So don't do that. Don't fall prey to chasing happiness. Instead, please change that word to fulfillment, because I think that's what you're really after. How do I be fulfilled in my life? And fulfillment, what fulfillment does is it's an experience. And I'll define it here in a second. It's an experience that we have that we're like, each day we can be fulfilled. We can reach for fulfillment by answering 2 simple questions. And the questions are, do I like who I am today? And do I like how I am today? If you answer no, chances are you're not in a place of fulfillment in this moment. But that's okay. You can change that, because you can change who you are and you can change how you behave so that you can feel better about meeting your life in a strong way. And I think that's a way better aim than happiness, okay? Happiness creates more suffering for you. Fulfillment is like, it actually gives you a real direct, if you answer those two questions, it gives you a real direct way to access your fulfillment and say, do I like who I am and how I am? Pretty simple. Okay, we'll go deeper into this Friday and Saturday, because I know you all have probably questions about that. And all of us have shitty days. We have days we wake up depressed and anxious. We don't want to do our day. We don't feel like it. We don't feel like meeting the challenges. We don't feel like climbing the mountain. We don't feel like showing up for ourselves or other people. Totally. But we're talking about over time. If we kind of look at the year so far, let's say January till now, do I like who I am and how I am? And that allows you to not answer from a place of, am I happy all the time? When you're miserable, it's so stupid. It just means, hey, how am I showing up? I've had some really big challenges this year. I personally have had a huge challenge this year. One of my biggest ever, and I really like how I showed up for that challenge. So that has me feel more fulfilled in my life. I really liked who I was during that challenge. I had some really hard moments and I was like, whew, this is tough. But I appreciate how I showed up for it. I don't appreciate how I felt. I felt really shitty a lot of the time. So see what I'm doing? It teases it out of, I had this shitty experience, and it allows you to look at yourself a little more objectively to say, oh, I did okay, actually. I'm still standing. I'm still here. And whoa, I actually learned some lessons and I maybe got stronger. All right, that's the whole point. I think of a relationship and your life as like, am I learning? Am I becoming more of who I am? And I want you to be more of who you are. Your most intimate relationships are going to pull you into and demand that you be more of who you are. Like really, challenge you to step into yourself more fully. That's what all these challenges out here are about that we experience. And we might have health challenges inside. It doesn't matter the challenge. It's asking you to meet yourself more directly, get present, appreciate yourself, respect yourself more. And then when you're in a relationship, you ideally are attracting the kind of people that are cheering you on that path, on that journey. They're saying, fuck yeah, go, you can do this. I believe in you. And you're doing the same for them, right? And then anytime they trigger you, you're like, oh, here's that activation again. Here's that injury of mine, that wound of mine. How do I want to act from this place? Or do I want to learn more about this in myself and increase my capacity so that I can stay in relationship with this person and work through the conflict or the challenge like a team and like a good, solid person? Because y'all are that's in you somewhere. And many of you are that each day, but some of us struggle to meet that part of ourselves, that strength, that resiliency, that person who can just continue to stand up in the face of adversity. So I really want that for you, all right? Okay, I'll take some questions. You can just type them in the chat over there on Instagram. I'm going to pop open Facebook and see if we have any there. And remember, your job in life is to be you, like not your strategic you that you were like a good little girl in your childhood, and so you're still trying to be a good little girl. I'm not talking about that version of yourself. I'm talking about the deeper essence that can be a total asshole, that can be a beautiful, brilliant star. I'm talking about the whole thing. And in intimate relationships, push all of that forward so that we can celebrate it, love it, accept it, heal it. Because again, that's where the fulfillment is. The fulfillment is not in trying to be someone we're not. And you're not going to get fulfillment by chasing happiness and then just creating more suffering for yourself. Okay, that's not fulfillment. Okay. I think you get the point. All right. Do you have any recommendations for a first-time meditator? Yes. Two. I actually was a certified meditation instructor many years ago. I still sit from time to time. And I want to make sure I got that question. Yeah, some people, it's mediator is very close to meditator. So I was just making sure you didn't ask me that. Is shamatha, right? In Buddhism, they call it shamatha and vipassana. Shamatha is basically one-pointedness, following like the breath, the inhale and the exhale, sitting quietly. It's really hard for a lot of us. There's so many good apps now. But really the point of meditation early on is just to notice how busy your mind is and how it's all over the place and how nutso it feels sometimes. You're just like, you can't even sit still. You're wanting to check your phone. It's can you over time move to more and more stillness, to just be with yourself and your experience, be with the breath, be with strong emotions, be with your thoughts, not try to push them away. It's just be with what's arising. Okay. Basic meditation. And sitting up in this, like all the pictures you see on like the ads in Yoga Journal and shit, no one sits like this with they're like perfectly upright in a, you know, Lululemon outfit. And they're like, don't go for that. Okay. Just be a normal person and just try to be with your experience. Sit in a chair if that's better for you. Yeah. And again, lots of good apps these days. Okay, cool. Stay healthy. That's awesome. Yeah. And again, if you want to sign up for my 2-day retreat coming up Friday, please do. I really want to see you there. We're going to go really deep. It's going to be very intimate. You're going to get more and more connected to yourself over the course of 2 days. If you can take off work or call in sick, I would do that. If you can't, then sign up anyway and get the recording. Especially the first day. We'll welcome you in the second day. It's fine. Yeah. And again, you can go to a therapy session for about the same price, or you can spend 2 days with me for just a tiny bit more than your therapist, and you get 10 plus hours with me. And you're not alone in the privacy of some relationship where you can't tell anyone what you're actually talking about. We're going to talk about all the things, okay? So I really want to encourage you to join me. All right. Oh, hey, Lisa. What's up? Lisa's on Facebook. Okay. Anyone else got a... Okay, here we go. Adelatus, can you speak to what about ism in arguments? How to combat what about when you did blank when I'm sharing a trigger with my partner? Yeah, I mean, the way you're starting the sentence, anyone starting that sentence, well, what about when you hurt me yesterday or you didn't text me back? And it's just this game of like, yeah, but. It's just yeah, but, basically. You might as well just change it to yeah, but. I don't recommend that, of course. Yeah, but doesn't go anywhere. Instead, I would listen until the other person feels understood. And I would both make a commitment and agreement to do that in your most important relationships. Like, hey, this is outside the conflict. Hey, let's agree that instead of yeah, but or what about, we're going to, because that's triggering for both of us or for you, let's do something that works for both of us. So if it works for you, but it doesn't work for me, then it doesn't work for us. Okay, it's got to work for all three, which is what I call standing for three. Anything we do inside of an intimate relationship, it's got to work for all three of us. Me, you, and us. Okay? Has to be good for the relationship. Yeah, why would I want to be in a relationship where it was good for me but not good for my wife? That's not good for us. And that's just not the kind of relationship I want to be in. All right? So zoom back out and have a conversation about that and say, let's not do that anymore. Let's play a new game where we listen to each other until we feel understood. All right? Try that one. Yeah. Thanks for the question, though. Any other quick questions? Really appreciating y'all being here. Nice. Yeah, if you're just joining us, I would go back and listen to the first part where I talked about the two questions before, if you missed that part. Okay. Okay. All right. What else do I want to say? I'm going to say a couple more things, and then we'll let you get back to your life. Yeah, there's a tool I call the 180 that students who have taken Relationship Mastery learn. The Relationship Mastery is a 9-month course that I teach that's super intense. One of the harder, I think, personal growth courses on the planet, because not everybody finishes. and not everybody can do what I'm asking them to do. But that in that course, there's a tool called the 180 that I learned from my mentor, one of my mentors, John, and it basically helps you reframe and re-perceive your past. And the reason that's important is because so many of us are carrying around burdens from the past, and we still have a lot of big feelings about the past. And I personally didn't want to carry those to my grave, and anything that comes up in my life from here until I die, I don't want to be holding on to it. Anger, resentment, betrayal, whatever the thing is. I want to move through it, and I want to travel lighter. So I'm into finding tools and processes that help me do that, help me get to zero, as I say. Get to I feel clean and clear, I feel good. I'm gonna just go back to my life. And then boom, I get punched with something, I get hit with another challenge. I work through it, I learn the lessons, I reframe the thing, and I move on. There's just no need to stay stuck. And when some of us get hurt, we fall into our victim seat. All of us do this. This is not victim blaming. All of us go to our victim seat. But some of us stay there and some of us get out. What's the difference between those two people? Well, the people that get out really apply themselves to see their part. They stop asking the world out there to be different, and they really investigate the world in here. All right, that's the empowered move. Metro, how old were you when you realized and adopted the fact that you could advise people? You're obviously good at it, it's highly appreciated, but I wonder if at some point you doubted yourself. Yeah, for sure. I was helping people from a young age, and in my 20s, I was a ski coach for many years at a ski resort. I ran their developmental ski team for 5 to 10-year-olds. So I started with kids. It's I'm going to help kids because I know I can help kids because I love kids. And then I went to teenagers. I love teenagers. I love adolescents. So I started working with adolescents. And then eventually led me to working with parents and families and adults. And you gain confidence through two things, through experience, right? More reps, but you also gain confidence by training with the best. So I found the best people in the world and began to train in their methodologies and tools. And that gave me a tremendous sense of confidence because I got better results with people. Yeah, good question. All right. Okay, well, thanks, y'all. It's been a pleasure. In the pinned comment, if you're on Instagram, just click that link to register. I'd love to see more of you there. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be intense. We're going to feel some feelings. We'll do a little bit of meditation. I'm going to teach a lot. We'll answer lots of questions. My wife is coming for a little bit. She's got a few things to share. So it's going to be really, really juicy, really deep. Yeah. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, it's relationshipschool.com/path. Okay. Yeah. Anyone in that wants to just type in, if you're in and you're coming, I'd love to see an in. I'm so curious. Yeah. You're welcome, Crystal. Yeah. And then we'll wind it down. And other NY Metro, I'm still a listener, right? I'm a listener and a speaker. Yeah, totally. Cool, Tati. Can't wait to see you in there. Oh, yeah. Or maybe it's just Instagram saying joined. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, y'all. Thanks again. And we'll see you at the 2-day retreat. Those of you who want to take this another step and truly change your life and really let's go after, we have one shot. Let's go after fulfillment and let's go after having awesome, high quality, deep, fulfilling relationships. You're all capable of that. We just got to all do our thing. We got to do our part to create it, to co-create it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks everybody. See ya.